What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Rod Too Deep. Back at it again with another video. For today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the second episode of season 1 of It Welcome to Derry, which is an HBO Max series. You should definitely check it out if you haven't already. I'll be talking about some key points from the episode and sharing my thoughts on them. But before I do, here's a quick spoiler warning. From this point on, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen episodes 1 and 2 yet, turn off the video now so you don't get spoiled. You have been warned. To start off the episode in the opening scene, they basically just play back the murder of baby girl Susie, Judas Teddy, and my boy Phil. It honestly gave me PTSD. I really didn't want to relive that traumatic spur of events. I am still in denial about their deaths at this point. To me, it's just no way that they killed all two strong characters all in one go in the first episode of the season. Crazy. I'm referring to Phil and Teddy, by the way. No disrespect to baby girl, but she hasn't made that much of an impact. Actually, she made an emotional impact, I guess. Seeing a literal child get their hand and part of their arm ripped off their body will leave some everlasting trauma. In this scene, you could clearly see Teddy get ripped to shreds. His lifeless body looked like a doll as it impacted the movie projector screen. I don't blame Lily for having a nightmare about such a tragic event. Seeing her reach out to Susie before getting a glimpse of the demon baby with wings, rip her hand and a part of her arm off, was so sad. I'm really messing with Ronnie's family so far. The grandmother is hilarious and her pop seems pretty cool too. Like I said in the last video, I'm really hoping the cops don't try to pin this all on her dad. The grandma is right though. Ronnie needs to hit them books and stay in school. She's probably a lot safer there than being cooped up at home with her pops. It honestly feels like Pennywise is most active when they're at home. He always seems to attack when they're alone. I'm curious to see how Pennywise goes after Leroy. From what I remember in the It films, Pennywise tends to go for kids, so my guess is he'll get to Leroy by targeting his son. Leroy playing off almost getting murdered by two masked men the night before, just saying, "I'll live," low-key made me laugh, I'm not gonna lie. And I don't know why it did. It wasn't really funny, but it just made me laugh. Now his wife, she's kind of annoying so far. She gives off the vibe of someone who likes to stick her nose where it doesn't belong. I've got a feeling one of those racist white folks is definitely going to put hands on her at some point this season. That's my second prediction. Hopefully I'm wrong though, because Leroy seems like the type of guy with a savior complex, the kind to get himself hurt trying to get revenge for his wife. You can tell Leroy's an absent father. He really doesn't know much about his son. I'll give the mom some credit though. Yeah, she's annoying, but she cares enough about her kid to keep him shielded from the fact that his dad's barely around. I like that she helped Leroy pick out the perfect gift. That telescope for their son was a nice touch. The kid seems like a sweet, smart, innocent boy. Definitely the type to get picked on, though. I can already see him getting bullied just like the kid from episode 2 does later on. Another annoying character is Marge. She's such a cornball, man, I swear. I can't stand her so far, but I'm always willing to leave room for improvement. She might end up being one of those characters you love to hate, so I'll give her a chance at redemption as the episodes go on. You can tell she really cares about Lily, but she goes about showing it in the worst way possible. She seriously needs to quit with all that patty cake nonsense. Patty doesn't even care about her that much to begin with. Marge needs to stop riding her so hard. It's honestly pathetic at this point. That being said, props to the actress for playing her. She's doing an amazing job at making Marge an unlikable and almost unbearable to watch character. She's definitely putting on a great performance so far. As for Will, it looks like he's about to go through a rough time at school. One thing his pops is right about, sadly, is that Will's too smart for his own good. Being a smart black kid in the early 60s isn't exactly something society was ready to handle at the time. especially at a time and place full of racism. Masters actually admitting to what he did really shocked me. I'm curious to see what kind of justice will be served once he eventually breaks and rats out the other two accomplices. Leroy's knowledge of weapons is honestly impressive. He's a smart dude, terrible dad, yeah, but when it comes to his work, he's great at what he does. I also like how his base doesn't tolerate any of the racist nonsense. It's refreshing to see, especially given the time period the show's set in. I'm actually surprised. I thought Leroy would be dealing with the same kind of treatment that Will's probably going to face once he gets settled in at school. Still, it's early in the season, so I'm curious to see how things will end up going for Leroy at the base and see if it's actually going to stay as chill as it is so far. Something about it just feels off, though. Can't quite put my finger on it yet. I'm curious about the significance of that alleyway that Leroy's wife passed by while walking to the store. I had a theory in the first episode that everyone outside of the main cast and their families might be Pennywise or demons under his control. This scene makes me think I could have been on to something. The energy from those kids seemed off. Even the kid getting beaten up gave me the creeps. And they ended up running into that alley. My gut tells me Pennywise wanted her to follow them so he could strike. Honestly, the townfolk in general are just unsettling. I can easily see Will facing similar bullying at school in the upcoming episodes. The scene with Ronnie drowning and what we ended up seeing was the stomach of her dead mother was horrifying. I genuinely thought it was over for her. Pennywise is absolutely twisted for manifesting her mother in such a disturbing way. The voice switch was insane and the visuals were nightmarish. Seeing her pulled in by the umbilical cord and catching a glimpse of those yellow eyes and the chopping stomach, which looked like a piranha plant from Super Mario, instantly reminded me of the It films, especially the moment when the beat dropped and we saw what I believe were Pennywise's eyes. It was gruesome that she had to bite the umbilical cord just to free herself, and thankfully her father arrived just in time to save her. I'm relieved the police chief shows some sense and refuses to arrest the man without evidence. I just hope the other officers face consequences for their behavior. I'm praying he doesn't cave under pressure to get reelected and wrongfully imprison Ronnie's father. I can't shake this uneasy feeling about Dick Halloran either. I'm trying to figure out if he's under Pennywise's control or if something bad is simply going to happen to him. The way he looked at Leroy in the first episode gave me serious Get Out vibes, like he wasn't in control of himself, similar to that guy at the party in the film before his mental breakdown in the movie. And what exactly is this special mission? Could it be connected to Pennywise? In real life, the military would probably be the first to know if something strange was happening in the town, so this makes the most sense to me, and it makes me really curious. Kids can be so cruel. The school scenes really bring back memories. I actually felt a little sympathy for Marge, who was being bullied by the girl she idolizes, just because that girl is jealous whenever Marge steals the spotlight. Marge's smile disappearing when she made eye contact with the nerdy band Geek Rich was hilarious. I'm guessing that he and Will are going to replace the dynamic duo of Teddy and Phil. It breaks my heart to admit it, but those two might truly have met their demise. Don't call me crazy, but off first glance, I can already see a romance potentially blooming between Ronnie and Will. And you know what that means. One of them will probably die. My guess is Will. I've got bad luck with characters I actually like. Every show I watch, they either end up dead or get hurt badly. Still, it's nice to see Ronnie and Will have each other to lean on. They can both relate to the same kind of mistreatment from the townsfolk, since they're basically outcast and they're the only black kids in the show so far. I was shocked to see Lily being walked out by the police. Did not see that coming. I'm really curious about what went down at Juniper Hill that has everyone treating Lily the way that they do. The police chief actually seems like a genuinely good dude, though, from our perspective. Lily clearly had no part in the brutal murders of those kids, but honestly, I can understand why the townsfolk would think that she did. She's a strange kid whose father was found in pieces, and then a year later, she's covered in blood of three other kids. Yeah, that doesn't look so great. The chief was definitely out of pocket for using reverse psychology on her, though. Manipulating the child and threatening to send her back to Juniper Hill is wild. But even then, I still don't think he's a bad guy. Man, it was tough watching Ronnie's dad get thrown into that cop car. Seeing Ronnie and her grandmother so emotional, that hit hard. And the way everyone just stood there watching them suffer, cold. I honestly thought Ronnie was about to put them hands on Lily, the way she ran up to her house. Luckily, Lily's mom stepped in before things went left. Leroy was straight up gangster for going into that cell with Masters the way he did. He had that man Masters calling out for the guards. Finding out it wasn't Masters behind everything, though, was a huge plot twist. I totally thought it was him. My first thought after that was, wait, could this somehow be Pennywise? Leroy bringing up Masters' mama was a smart move to confirm his theory. I would have been caught red-handed too. I'm a mama's boy myself, so I get it. Then we learned from the general that Leroy has a damaged amygdala. Sheesh. What exactly happened in South Korea? And those masked men, I'm dying to know who they were. I half expected that the whole thing was to be a test of some sort. Honestly, I would have reported that general immediately. I wouldn't even want to hear his explanation. But then again, maybe it is tied to Pennywise. The general mentioned that he was looking for a brave man, someone who could handle what's coming. That could explain why Dick Halloran was on that secret mission. Maybe they're looking to replace him. And that also explains why Halloran looked so jealous of Leroy back in episode 1 when they first had met. The townsfolk in that store scene with Lily had me tripping out bad. My skin was crawling with the way that their bodies were moving. That guy walking on his tippy toes behind her, hands down the creepiest one yet. Then seeing Susie, Teddy, and Phil on the cereal boxes, insane. Teddy and Susie's faces were decayed, but Phil's was perfectly normal. That has to mean he's still alive. Remember the demon baby with wings? Pushed Phil from behind. He was the only one who didn't actually get ripped to shreds of some sort or lose a limb. Pennywise portraying himself as Lily's dad inside of that jar, out of pocket once again this episode. That poor girl is seriously traumatized. And this scene just overall resulted in her looking even more crazier and more strange than before, since the townfolk were just staring at her while she had a breakdown on the floor. Now, in the scene with the general and Leroy, it looks like I was right. The government does know about Pennywise in some capacity. The general mentioned a weapon buried in Derry capable of generating debilitating fear. That's definitely Pennywise. And those beacons they talked about, I'm guessing they'll be located in the sewers, maybe? And that final shot when the car enters Juniper Hill and the camera pans down to the sewer is raining just like in the original It film when Georgie got his arm ripped off reaching down for his paper boat that his brother had made him, that he was trying to get back from Pennywise. That's not a coincidence if you ask me. Lily's definitely going to have an encounter with Pennywise soon. And that car with the 3 skulls, I'm dying to know what that symbolizes. But yeah, so that was my thoughts and review of the second episode of season 1 of the HBO Max series, It Welcome to Derry. I've created a playlist where my last review and this one will be located. A link will be in the description. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. Keep progressing. And leave your thoughts of episode 2 down below in the comments. Peace.
How we